What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, a lot of you I've been seeing talking about how PvP feels weird and PvP seemingly has changed on the new gen version of the game. For this particular video, I want to home in on these specific settings. Now, a lot of you are new to the game, so this might help aid you towards being a better player overall, or for existing players, they can then just look at my settings, change up their settings, but also learn some tips and tricks here and there. The first thing we're going to be looking at is the controller layout. Now, you get multiple controller layouts from standard to building to aerial to boat and submarine. I've been using standard all this time, and you also have a special button, the swap special action, which gives you multiple actions on the LB, being the Xbox controller. For this, I have it on headlook, and this is what headlook is. When I hold down the LB button, you can also toggle it, so if you press LB, then you can look around via the headlook, and then you just have to press LB again, or your left bumper, to disable the headlook. But I have it on hold, so I just hold that button down until I release it, then I'm no longer in the headlook view. Headlook is just a really good way to look behind you while sprinting in a specific direction. So if you're sprinting forward, you can look backwards without having to change or deter where you're moving to on the map. Next one is vibration. Now, me specifically, I've always had vibration off. When I did have it on at the start of the game, it just distracted me when in PvP battles. Pretty much simply put, I would always turn it off if I was you. Next is the player belt cycle, or in this case, a lot of people call it the hotbar. There's two settings to this. You have all slots or filled slots only. So at the bottom of your screen, you're going to be seeing your hotbar, and this could be taken up or occupied by all such things such as guns or anything else in between, rocking a torch when you start off on a server. It can either be empty or all of the slots are taken up. Now, for the all slots, you basically have to scroll across the whole hotbar. But if you filter it to filled slots only, it will then just go to all the slots that are occupied or have something in, so you'll skip the empty slots on your hotbar. Now, in my opinion, always have it on filled slots only, because why would you want to go on the empty slots, especially if you're in a gunfight, and let's say for example you have the AK at the bottom and you have two slots to the right that are empty and your MP5 is the other side of your hotbar. You want to get there as fast as possible, so having all slots on, it will make you go automatically towards the MP5, skipping the two empty slots in the hotbar. Disable quick chat. So quick chat is where you press your right bumper down and it comes up with the chats in game you can have, or the emotes and inspect element. There's countless times where I've been in fights in launch or anywhere around the map, and when I'm shooting the person, I then press too hard down on the right bumper, and that's it. You're done, you're dead, and that's a broken desk. Next is the sprint input. Now, I would recommend you have this on toggle. Toggle means that when you press down the left bumper, you don't have to then keep holding it until you stop running. If you press it down once and you just carry on navigating yourself through the map, then you'll still be sprinting. Whereas hold, you would just have to hold the LB down, the left bumper down, and it just isn't great. Next is crouch input. Now, everybody has a different preference for this. I'm just going to say I've tried both, and when I've had it on hold, which is basically you have to hold down, let's say for me anyway, the B button, you can either have the right bumper as the crouch or the B button for the crouch as well. I've tried both buttons and tried both modes, being toggle and hold, and I found when I've been PvPing extensively with the hold down crouch input, I've had achy hands by the end of it. Like, it can screw up your hands, so it depends on what sort of player you are. Now as well, a lot of mouse and keyboard players use the hold button because they're just literally tapping a key. So for controller players specifically, I have it on toggle, and here's the side-by-side comparison of whether you have it on toggle or hold, how fast you're going to be crouching up and down if you are PvPing, because a lot of people do crouch up and down when PvPing. There's not much difference. You can control it better if you hold down. I have the crouch input as hold. I just have it as toggle because there's less achiness from my hands and I don't really use it that much in PvP. Camera control type. Now you have two here, analog acceleration and digital boost. Now, I haven't really come across many people that use analog acceleration. You can look at the description of that. It basically tells you analog acceleration gradually increases the camera sensitivity on a curve over an adjustable amount of time. I go with digital boost, always have done and probably always will. Next is boost multiplier. Now boost multiplier acts as if it's like, if you just think of it as Call of Duty settings, if you play Call of Duty, you have 1 being, you know, very low, and then 14 for example being insane, or whatever number it goes up to in Call of Duty nowadays. Boost multiplier acts as a sensitivity going left to right. So I'm on 250%, which as you can see in the background is fairly fast, and again this is just so for me anyway, whereas at 100% it is fairly slow for me anyway. If you're a slow sense player, then that is perfect. Camera sensitivity Y, looking up and down. This is something you may see PC players do, but when you're getting shot at, the best thing to do is look down and obviously try and run and make confusing movements so it's hard for them to register any bullets on you. You want to keep your head down because obviously if they get or register shots on your head, you're pretty much dead within 2 bullets if they land it. For comparison's sake, here is when you're looking down at the ground running in like circles, as opposed to if you are standing and running around in circles. You can definitely see the head a lot more, and it's very much easier to die that way. Camera sensitivity ADS. ADS meaning aim down sight. This is basically aiming down your iron sight of the weapon. I had mine on 25% and this is at 25%, you know, I guess fairly standard for a controller. However, let's bump it up to 100%. God knows who uses 100% on an actual controller, but they have that set in there for you. That's how fast it is, and then obviously you can see the spray of the 25% ADS to the 100% ADS. 100% is like you're literally playing on a mouse and keyboard, and people play mouse and keyboard in this game, so there you go. The same happens with 1 times, and for me 25% is what I'm on at the moment for the 1 times. 4 times is 40%. I don't really use the 4 times that much unless I'm trying to get Heli's attention or just in a raid or raid defense. But if you can beam with a 4 times AK, you're going to be a very dangerous player. Camera sensitivity whilst sprinting, I've got mine at 150% again, so I'm able to dodge bullets if I'm getting shot at. There's no real other reason in my opinion to use this, and you can see it in action there. You can move very fast at 150% and also change direction if someone is beside you and you need to take them out. Moving forward towards the HUD. Now HUD visibility for me is full and the HUD scale is 80%. At the bottom you'll be able to see how big your HUD bar is, or the hotbar, and you really want that as small as you can because you don't want it taking up too much of your screen. And if we go down to the crosshair, this is something I would say you need to have on because you're going to be at a severe disadvantage if you don't have the crosshair on. On the topic of the crosshair, if you don't have a hollow sight or 4 times on your gun, you're going to be seeing this crosshair. Whenever you move forward or shoot, the crosshair will increase in size. And if you have a hollow sight or 4 times on, the crosshair will decrease in size very noticeably, and also when you're shooting it doesn't move either, which is great for hip fire up close combat. So if you're going to go out and you do have even a handmade sight, put that on your weapon because you never know when you're going to need it, and the crosshair serves you a lot better. As for the audio, I would suggest having a hit marker and footsteps volume up fairly high. Turn the in-game music off because you don't really need to hear it unless you're a role player. And for graphics, I personally play on balance because performance, there's still some issues there apparently, and I've turned the blood and FPS limit off. Blood, I don't really want to see that on my screen if I'm being shot at. I know I'm going down HP wise because the color of my screen is going black and white, so I don't really need blood to sort of confuse me or throw me off at all. And also the field of view for me is at 90%. rather than 70 because 90 is just easier to control recoil and easier to see around you and your surroundings from left to right as opposed to the 70%. And that is pretty much the most important settings you need to know about this game if you're new or even a veteran in the game. Gives you some pointers to play off of. If you have any questions surrounding this topic of the video, be sure to leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you very much for watching. As always, see you in the next one. Take care.